Hello, my name is Nelson Sintra. I'm an alum of the Labouré Society, and I'm now in formation with the Diocese of Boise. I'm studying at Mundelein Seminary, and I'm here with Tyler Koester. Tyler is now an aspirant here with the Labouré Society, and we're going to ask Tyler a couple of questions and get to know him a little bit. So Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your upbringing, your childhood, and the faith in your family as a child.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, my family were cradle Catholics, and it goes all the way back for quite a while. But for us, we were more of the Christmas and Easter type of Catholics. We weren't really practicing the faith. When I was younger, I was really into science, technology, those types of things. And it was good, but there was always kind of something missing, And this will sound really simple, but it was my sophomore year, kind of around sophomore year in high school. I was concerned about, I want to live a logical life. I want to live a life directed to truth. That was important to me. And it occurred to me that, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite. There's a contradiction here because I'm saying that I'm Catholic, but I'm not actually living like a Catholic, So from that I said, okay, I'm going to have to make a choice. Either I will stop calling myself Catholic, or I'm going to start going to Mass every Sunday. And I figured, well, Catholic Church has been around for a while, so maybe she knows a few things. I'll give that a try. So I praise God. I started going to Mass.
So that started to happen in sophomore year of high school?
Sophomore year, yeah.
So you started living your faith more, going to Mass every Sunday. Did you start praying on a regular basis at that time too?
Yes.
On your own outside of Mass?
Yes. It was a gradual process. God was very patient with me, I like to say. But I started praying more on my own, and I became more involved with different activities in the church. Part of it was when I started going to Mass, I was just on my own. My family was supportive, but being at Mass on your own is kind of difficult, and I was always kind of nervous sitting in a pew on my own. So for that reason, I'll admit, I started to get more involved in different ministries in the church because I'm like, well, at least I could be doing something then. But that was very good. It got me into contact with some really great people, and really slowly but surely led me into a much deeper practice and appreciation of my faith, where it was no longer just to keep myself from being alone in a pew, but it was because I really wanted to serve God. I really wanted to do this.
When did you start studying about the faith? You were talking about how living a life according to truth and being logical and not being contradictory.
Yes.
When did you start really getting into the teachings of the church?
It was around that time, sophomore, junior year in high school, but it was difficult. You hear sometimes there's this confusion that comes up where people will say to be a faithful Catholic, you need to, turn away from the sciences, turn away from the light of reason, and turn towards the faith, and just have this acceptance of the faith.
And you were hearing this from other Catholics?
Yeah, you heard it quite a bit, I'm afraid.
That can be really discouraging.
Yeah. Honestly, it was something where I was always internally a little conflicted there. I couldn't really make sense of it. With that, I was in. It was good. I was living more of my faith, but there was definitely still that tension, I would say, in high school, sophomore, junior, into senior year.
Okay. And then high school, senior year, you were getting into it, and then did you go to college right after high school?
Well, actually, near the end of high school, we had a really holy priest come as our associate pastor, and he, among a few other people in the parish, like the good holy church ladies, the people going to daily Mass and all that, they encouraged me, well, Tyler, how about considering the priesthood? And I was like, I don't know if this may be what I'm supposed to do in life. I'm not sure. But I thought, after quite a bit of hesitation, I'll go to seminary and figure out if this is what God wants for me. Okay. Give it a shot. It could be it. I didn't really know, but I thought this is something that needs some investigation.
So you went to high school or college seminary right after high school?
Correct. Yeah, right out of high school, I applied and entered immediately into the seminary for my home diocese.
Okay. Did you complete studies in the college seminary?
I didn't complete my studies. It was really a blessed time there at the college seminary. Really, that was the big point for me, where studying the philosophy and talking with the professors, that tension I mentioned with the faith was really completely corrected. we read Pope John Paul II's encyclical Faith and Reason,
Sure.
which was so beautiful, and it made perfect sense that, well, if God is the God of all truth, the truths of our faith, the truths of the Catholic faith, and the truths of reason, these are compatible. These assist each other. In choosing to follow our faith, we don't at all reject the beauty of science and the beauty of natural reason. Rather, that's enhanced. So for me, that was astounding, really a blessing in the seminary. But like I said, I didn't actually finish the studies there because it was in the diocesan seminary I learned about religious life for the first time. With that, at first, I was wondering, kind of felt like, is this something I'm even allowed to do in religious life?
Sure.
This seems really cool. And through my spiritual director and other guys, it's like, well, yeah, this is definitely something you can do. Go ahead, you can feel free to look into this more.
And so now you've started looking into a religious community?
Yes. I departed the diocesan seminary halfway through my junior year, and from that point onward, I started investigating different religious communities.
Okay.
Originally, I was very much leaning towards the contemplative communities, the ones that it's really devoted to God alone, through prayer, through living the liturgy, and I spent some time with different orders of monks. Now that was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But from that, I started to come to recognize that although this is a big part of who I am with the contemplative life, there was still something that was missing, something that was kind of not quite there in the vocation.
And then what were the next steps after that?
Well, the next step actually kind of brought me back a bit. In the seminary, really getting into the beauty of truth, like I mentioned, we did a lot of reading different texts, and one of the big saints that came out was St. Thomas Aquinas of the Dominican order.
Of course.
Through him, I came to know more about their order, what they do, and I was like, this is really cool. This is really something that, thanks be to God that it's being done in the church. But of course, I could never do this. This is not for me. I'm too hard. I don't have what it takes to do this. Through that investigation with the contemplative communities, I started to realize, maybe I need to humble myself a bit, not trust so much in myself, maybe give it a go. Once again, be open to it. Maybe this is something that could be God's will.
So since then, you started discerning with the Dominicans?
Yes. I was kind of apprehensive at first, but I went ahead. I spent a weekend with them, went back a few times, really got to know their vocations director. One moment that really stands out in my mind in all this, I was slowly kind of inching that way, where it made so much sense for me, where this is a good fit. I could see myself becoming a saint for God in this order and being able to use the gifts God's given me to help others. But I was still, there was still something there. I still was antsy. I had an experience once when I was visiting them. It was in the middle of the night, and we were all taking turns taking holy hours, which was really beautiful. It was really awesome. And of course, it makes you feel kind of kick butt when you wake up in the middle of the night to go and pray.
Right.
So mine was like at 3 a.m., and your mind is completely clear. And I was there, just me, the Lord, and then one of the Dominican brothers was also there, just praying. I was kind of looking at him like, I don't know. God, I just don't know. And in that moment, I didn't actually hear words, but it was almost as if God was trying to say to me, Tyler, you just have to trust me. Stop trying to depend on your own strength. Depend on my strength. And for me, that was the moment where it's like, you're right, God. Of course, God wins. I have to trust more on God. And that's where I came to have the courage and the conviction enough to say, I think God's calling me to join the Order of Preachers.
Wow, okay.
In that moment.
Did that lead you to then apply to the Order of Preachers?
Yep, from that, over the next couple of months, I was working with the vocations director, went through the application process, all the pieces of parts. And at this point, by the grace of God, I'm happy to say they have accepted me into formation. The earliest I could enter would actually be this coming July 25th, 2016
Okay.
with them.
Okay. Now, my experience with the Labouré Society has been that it's a formation in itself. We're learning a lot through here, and it's not like our formation is delayed until we enter. But first I want to ask you, how did you come about the Labouré Society? Was it your vocations director
Exactly.
had that brought? Okay.
Yes. It was the DOV, the vocations director of the Dominicans, where for me, especially once we were getting to the point where the application was near completion, he told me, Tyler, if we accept you with the student loan debt you have from your time in the seminary and finishing up your degree, we can't take on that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the Dominicans being an order that takes a vow of evangelical poverty, they don't have much spare funds around. I mean, most of it's devoted already to the ministries they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where he was actually the one that pointed me to the Labouré Society, saying, here's an organization, talk with them. There are many good people in the church that can help you out, so you could enter formation much more quickly versus, I mean, I'd be happy to work as long as it takes, but at that point you're talking 5, 6, 7 years maybe. You're paying, your rent for your apartment and all that. It makes it hard to really make that quick.
Right. So now you've been here at boot camp for the last 3 days.
Yes.
And it's been a full weekend.
Yes.
Drinking from the fire hose.
Drinking from the fire
as they say.
hose, yes.
Yeah. So now for the next 6 months, you're going to be fundraising.
Yes.
What is a message that you would want to share with young men and women that are discerning the priesthood and religious life, but they themselves are blocked because of student loans?
Yes. I would really stress what was really big for me is the element of trust, where the finances should never be something that hinders the work of God. Money is important, but really money is a way that we show generosity to each other, to our families, to ourselves in different ways. I would say, don't let that be a deterrent. Don't let that be something that leads you to the conclusion, oh, I must not be called. No. God works in many mysterious ways, and there are many people in the church that can help you out. Don't shy away from that. Go forth and at least make the need known,
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And again, like I mentioned, I really saw my time with the Labouré Society as formation itself.
Yeah.
And not only us being formed, but also an opportunity for us to go out and share that love of God that we've received with others. So I'm very excited for you to have this opportunity to go out for the next 6 months. But thank you for taking this time to
Absolutely.
sit here with us and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Nelson.
God bless you, Tyler.